Hey everyone, it's Kyle from Kool Collectibles, back again for another 1/6 scale figure review. This time it's the first of the Star Wars figures from Hot Toys with the MMS271 Shadow Trooper. For all your 1/6 scale figures and more, click the link in the description below to head on over to Sideshow Collectibles. They ship worldwide, so definitely check them out. Just quickly go through the packaging and the accessories. I love the shoebox style that Hot Toys used for this. So it's got the nice sort of glittering look on the front there of the Shadow Trooper, and just the slip cover there with, you can slightly see a bit of the face mask there. But otherwise, pretty simple packaging. For the accessories, you come with first the stand. So I love this look of the grate on the Death Star, and the plaque there for the Shadow Trooper is nice. Now these ones you can put them together with other stands in the Star Wars range that come with a similar grating. So you just pull that back and take the crotch grabber off, and then the plaque here you just take off, and then I believe you can then put them up against each other and gradually build up that stand. So that looks pretty good, particularly once you get all the figures in their range. So you pretty much just slot that back in like so without dropping it, like that, and then just put it back in, folding it under like so, like that. So pretty straightforward with the stand. It comes with the standard instruction book that explains all of that. The hands comes with two standard relaxed palms on the figure, but then 5 other hands as well. So he's got the wide open hand there, an action pose I guess, the gun holding right hand, left fist, a left gun holding hand, and a right fist. And they're all fairly nicely detailed. You can sort of see the paint application that's sort of glossy, and the weathering on them as well. So the weathering is intentional with all those little grey specks and so on. And the hands themselves just look like they're sort of black velvet gloves or something like that. So not too bad there. It comes with 2 faux leather pouches. They don't, from what I can tell, they don't flip open, so I'm not even going to bother trying, just in case I break something. But the black sort of fake leather is pretty nice. It comes with some elastic here, which you then sort of clip around the belt, I think. So I'll show you guys that in a second. It comes with the canister that you hook on behind the belt, which I'll just show you here. Now I don't actually know if this is some sort of, I can't remember if it's a bomb or some sort of drink canister or what the purpose is of this. So if you do know, leave me a comment in the description below. It comes with a removable belt, if I can focus on, that just connects via a bit of Velcro at the back here, which thank God they use Velcro and not one of those plastic snap clips that they've used previously. I really do hate those, and I've broken a couple of them in the past. So you pretty much just put it around the waist and fasten it like that. And with the canister, you pretty much just flip it in at the back like that on the figure, and then it sits like that. There might be a risk that these plastic bits scuff and scratch the back of the armor, but I'll have to see how that goes when I put it on to see if that's a risk. And the last accessory is the Stormtrooper Blaster, which is really nicely done. I love the mold, and I love the sort of silver paint wash over that to make it, yeah, it just looks very realistic. And as a comparison, the only other sort of Stormtrooper type figure I've got is the Sideshow Deluxe Sand Trooper, and that was made in conjunction with Hot Toys, and there are quite a lot of similarities between the two figures. And the first similarity is the rifle itself, but you can sort of tell that the Sideshow version is slightly different in proportion in certain areas. It is a bit smaller lengthwise, but not too bad. But in other areas it's very similar overall. But you can tell, for example, the I don't know what that is, the handle here or something is slightly longer on the Sideshow version. and the paint app itself is not as detailed as the Hot Toys, and so it's more of a black wash, and doesn't have that sort of nice silver accenting to it. And if you just lower this bit, you'll see that the barrel here is just molded plastic all the way through with no holes, but on the Hot Toys they've just got that added detail where you can actually see through those holes. And so it just, the extra detail, the extra paint apps, everything about the weapon itself is just better on the Hot Toys, as expected, because the Sandtrooper was an older figure, probably 2 or 3 years now. So the blaster rifle, you can then convert it, if I can remember how, just like so, and just make it a longer rifle like that. But more often than not, I think pretty much everyone is just going to have it in the standard folded up mode and just clip it up like so. So that is pretty much the accessories. Just hold on and I'll grab the figure. Alright, so here is the figure, and I gotta say I'm really impressed and I really do love this figure. Initial comments on the figure were that the head, the helmet was too large for the body. If I just zoom out for a little bit. But I think in hand it is pretty much perfect proportions to the body. So there's no complaints from me about the overall proportions of the helmet compared to the body. Now if I just grab the Sideshow Sandtrooper, which I might need to keep a hold of because it doesn't really balance very well with the backpack, you'll see the proportion wise the figures are pretty much identical, and the helmets themselves, I can't actually tell. There are some slight molding differences like in the breathing areas down here and so on, but overall the helmet seems to be pretty much the exact same mold, and has pretty much the same proportions. So the fact that Hot Toys was involved in making the Sandtrooper, I'm not sure to what extent they were involved in making it, whether or not they were involved in the body. I doubt they were involved in the body, but whether or not they had influence on the weapons and the armor and so on. For what I can see here, the helmet is pretty much the same. There are differences in the armor, for example. The chest armor here is actually a little bit thinner. The Sandtrooper here, the chest area and the waist area is definitely wider. Now, there are differences also in the moldings along the legs and so on. The Hot Toys version really looks probably fatter in a lot of cases, and actually I think fit better on the body. And there are certain molding differences as well, for example. So if I just turn that slightly to the side and just make sure that stands up, you'll see, I guess even looking now, I thought there were differences in the molding of the leg armors and so on, but even the curve here looks very similar between the Shadow Trooper here and the Sandtrooper. Now, the Sandtrooper is a newer figure than their original release of the Stormtrooper, so I think there are more differences between the Shadow Trooper and the original Sideshow Stormtrooper than there are between this and this figure. So I think Hot Toys really did use the Sandtrooper armor as the basis for this Shadow Trooper, and they have improved it in quite a lot of ways as well. So I'll just put this guy to the side again. Alright, so back onto this guy. I do love the Pauldron, so I'll just bring the Sandtrooper back over again actually. The Pauldrons are very similar as well, and they do have that little fake leather strap here. But I think the quality of the materials on the Hot Toys is definitely a step up from the original Sideshow version. So this particular deluxe figure had the grey Pauldron and also the white Pauldron, which I've stored away. But this one here with the black glossy fake leather and so on just looks really, really nice. What else can I say in similarity? I think the armor pieces, there are quite a lot of molding differences along here and so on. So I think that's pretty much all I can compare with the Sand Trooper. Oh, I guess one other difference is the underlying, what do they call it? The bodysuit. The bodysuit is a different material, although the Sand Trooper does have a nice sort of flexible material. The Shadow Trooper here, the material looks very similar to the Reeve Superman suit, and probably moves and feels the same way as well. So I think it's probably just a black version of the Superman suit, which I guess in my eyes is definitely the way to go. I'm glad they didn't try and use the really fragile 1966 Batman suit. That was just a friggin' nightmare to move around. But the Superman suit and this one do look very similar, and is definitely a step up from the sort of fine flexible suit that's on the Sand Trooper here. So that's a definite improvement there. Everywhere else, the armor moves fairly freely. The shoulder pads here, there is elastic bands around it, so you can sort of have a bit of play there that you can move around. And you do need to move the armor pieces around just to get the most out of the articulation. So just to sort of move the elbow, for example, you do need to push this up, this upper arm bit, and to move that elbow, you really do need to sort of tuck this armor up a little bit to give a bit of play, and then be able to bend that arm. And you can get, it is a double joint, and so you can get quite a high degree of movement there. But you just probably need to be a bit careful on how you adjust the armor here, and just prevent some of the scuffing that might happen. So I'll probably futz around with that in a little bit. But the articulation, the arms move out freely enough. They probably can move a little bit higher than that, but I won't force that, depending on this how you adjust the shoulder armor here. And they do move forward and backwards fairly easily as well. You just need to be careful where you place your hands, just in case you do break or move something that you shouldn't. The armor here, there is a bit of movement in the torso, but not too much, and the armor sort of does feel quite tight, and you do run the risk of a lot of paint rub along this area, so I'd probably not try and do too much with that. Now along this gap here, if I can try and just move this arm up a little bit, there seems to be an elastic band connection between there, but here on this side it seems more of a plastic, if I can sort of just point that, it seems more of a plastic connection point there, so I'm not sure why they went with plastic there, and hopefully that doesn't come unstuck or anything like that with too much movement. And the crotch piece there, that's connected with elastic that you can probably just make out in between there, and elastic between his legs, which is similar to the Sand Trooper, and there's no connection point here at all, so that is then connected to the torso here with another bit of elastic. So it all sort of joins by elastic all the way up, but not around here, but there is a connection at that point. And I'm assuming the shoulder, the chest piece here is fairly free as well, so you can sort of see that it's not connected at that point, and neither at this point. So that gives a bit of play there, but I'm assuming it's all connected via these shoulder panels all the way to the back here. So the detailing here is also very nice. Throughout the figure it's got the sort of odd silver fake sort of scratching, so that isn't a flaw, so, just in case people think that they've got a figure with flaws. A lot of that is intentional, and I've sort of inspected the figure and I can't really see too many scuffs or anything else that I'd be worried about. Because it is sort of a high gloss black armor, some unintentional scuffing might not look too good. And there was a recent photo on Sideshow Freaks of someone's helmet that came with a lot of scuffing at the front, but mine turned out okay. So definitely better than the Sideshow Vader, that the helmet that I got initially had a lot of scuffs on it. Articulation wise at the legs, there is a lot of movement forward, which is good, not too much backwards, and the knees bend fairly well as well, so you just need to be careful of the armour again back here on how you pose the figure. But all the armour pieces are free moving, and I think it's just friction that's keeping it in place, and I do prefer that. The pieces seem to be moulded to the size to best suit the body. For the Sideshow Clone Troopers, the underlying bodysuit is a thicker sort of fabric, but they have little Velcro pieces inside the thigh armour, for example, to try and keep it in place. And as you move that thigh piece, because there's Velcro against the fabric piece, it starts to fray the suit. I would prefer it if they just made it a bit tighter and you could just move it into position like the Hot Toys figure here. So that's a definite improvement for the Hot Toys figure. The feet movement is the standard ball joint there, and because it's just got the undersuit there and then the joint, it does look a little bit weird like that, so you just need to futz that and just make sure you put that armour down to sort of hide that joint and make it look like he's got proper ankles. But that's just a minor bit of futzing there. But everything else on this figure is pretty much perfect. Now these Bicep Armour pieces, I'm not quite sure which way they should be facing. I'll probably have to go back through my Star Wars costumes book or something like that. I'm not sure if it is meant to face with this bit that's lower facing towards the front or towards the back, but that's an easy futz anyway. So I might just put the belt on and give you guys a look at the figure with the belt on. Just hold on a second. Alright, so here he is with his belt attached, and it does have quite a bit of degree of freedom there to make it tighter or looser as you want. I've just placed it on now just quickly, but I'll fix it up afterwards. The pouch here is actually nicely done. I'm not sure how fragile these little connection pieces will be, but hopefully without too much movement they would stay in place fairly well. And this little piece here just holds on with a magnet like that. Hopefully these magnets are stuck on a little bit stronger than the DX07 Luke's. On one of my figures, this one has come off and I just need to super glue it back on, but this one seems to be working fairly well now. And the leather material, or the fake leather material here, is actually really nice and has that nice look to it. The pieces here are just attached via little elastic ends. I actually don't even know why they have these pieces, so if anyone can explain that, please do. They don't seem to serve any real purpose that I can see, but they are on pretty much every Stormtrooper figure that I've seen. Now I'm just going to try and figure out how to attach these pouches and be back with you guys in a second. Hold on. Well, going by the instruction book, it looks like this elastic band here for the back of the pouch needs to be slid over this flap here, so maybe that's the purpose of this flap, and essentially the pouch just sits like that. Now I haven't actually tried yet to extend this, and I'm not too sure if how strong that sewing is, so I'll probably try that off camera and post up some photos on the website and Facebook page, so check back in a bit on those, but I probably won't try that right now, just in case I do something silly with these things. But you get the general idea on what that would look like with I guess these two pieces sort of just hanging there. I'm not sure why. I guess they could have included another strap or something to put it across the shoulder here, just like the Sideshow Trooper here. But I guess that was just an addition they probably didn't need to do. But overall, I think that is pretty much it. I'll quickly show you guys. I guess this clip here just folds in back there, so you just might be careful on how much scuffing is going to happen to this thing here. So mine doesn't have any sort of scuffing or scratches just yet, but you just might need to be a bit careful. But that is pretty much it for this guy. And as my first look at Hot Toys' new Star Wars line, I gotta say this is really making me look forward to getting pretty much all of them. If this is the standard for the 2 white Stormtrooper figures, then I'm definitely going to love the 2-pack that I've pre-ordered as well. So definitely looking forward to getting that one, and they're 2 different heights as well. And the rest of the, you know, there's the Han and Chewbacca set, there's Obi-Wan that they've announced, Darth Vader. So the only ones I'm really looking out for now, hopefully they announce the pre-orders for Tatooine, Luke, and the Death Star Leia, because that would really round out the core cast of Episode 4. But that is pretty much it. Hope you guys like that look at this Shadow Trooper. Hope you can click that subscribe button. I've got Hoth Han and Hoth Luke coming up for 1/6 scale figures, so hopefully you can subscribe and stay tuned for those reviews. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and thanks again. I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers. Bye.